Hey y'all, 53 today. This is a real short lesson again. Go ahead and look at if you want to, open up your book to page 283. That's the little chart we have on the bottom, and just goes over the rules for decimals, piddling around with them. You just want to make sure you know these, and it's a pretty short lesson today. Adding and subtracting decimals, as you see on the chart, you just line them up if you're adding or subtracting. That's all, line the decimals up. If you're multiplying, you don't need to line them up at all, but the answer that you get should be, which is called the product, of course, the answer to a multiplication problem, should have the same number of digits behind the decimal as you do in both of the two numbers you're multiplying combined, all right? In other words, if it's like, I don't know, 3.2 times 5.79, the answer is going to have three numbers behind the decimal. And it should be, by the way, about 18, right? 3 times 6 is 18. So that's another way of checking yourself. So if you have some number that you go, I got the answer, 186.25. You can look at that and go, wait a minute, that's not right. That's too big. 3 times 6 is only 18? Oh, I must move the decimal over one more time. Okay. Dividing by a whole number, look at the chart. You just go straight up, and then you just keep going just like normal division. If you're dividing a decimal by a decimal, you want to get rid of the decimal and just divide as if you normally would. So anyway, the second part of this lesson is simplifying fractions. And there are two ways to do this. Really, when you see a denominator that's the same, it's a piece of cake. You can just go, of course, 4 plus 5 is 9 over 6. There you go. Now, there's two things you can do. At this point in the game, when you're in your math, a lot of times they want you to write a final answer as a mixed number. And when you get into algebra, sometimes you will leave numbers like as improper fractions with the numerator larger than the denominator. But we'll get into that later. Don't worry about it now. When you look at this, if there's two things you can do. Method one, you could go down here and go, wait a minute, 3 divided by, that's going to be, I'm going to reduce this fraction. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 goes into 6 2 times. I might have mentioned this once, but every fraction is a division problem. Okay. Well, 3 divided by 2 is 1. And 1/2 left over, right? So that'd be your final answer. Now again, like I said, in algebra in a year or two, you're going to be just leaving it like that and then going in and checking your number because it makes it easier. The other way of doing this is you could go, okay, well I'm going to do this, make this a mixed fraction. 9 divided by 6 is 1, and then there's 3 left over, so 3 over 6. Then you look at this part and go, oh, I can reduce that fraction, 3 over 6. That'll be 1 and 1/2. Same thing you got over here. It doesn't matter what order you do it in, just as long as you do it correctly. Okay, all right. Let's look at the practice set together. It's on page 284. I'm assuming you're looking at the same edition I am. Discuss how the rules in the decimals chart apply to each one of these problems. Okay, 5 minus 4.2. You're just going to line up the decimal. There is no decimal with a 5, so you're just going to go like this. 5.0 minus 4.2, like that. Don't even care about the answer. 0.4 times 0.2. You tell me how many digits are going to be behind the answer. Behind the decimal, excuse me, in the answer. Yeah, it's going to be 4 times 2, we know is just 8. Well, there'll be 2 numbers behind the decimal, so it's going to be 0.08. All right? 0.12 divided by 3, you're just going to set it up like this, like that. 0.12, and then there it is. So that's all there is to it. 5 divided by 0.4 will be this, 0.4 into 5. And you can just pop that over one time, and then there's a decimal there, and then you can put 1 there. Of course, if you want to, you could, actually, no, we don't need a decimal of that because that's going to be a 50. So we could just go like this, 4 into 50 is your new problem. Make it a little easier on yourself. Okay, for C, we will go ahead and C, D, and E, do those 3. Just pause it and do those 3, then come back and we'll look at those together. So go ahead and pause it. Okay, C, obviously, if you wanted to do this, 15 divided by 12, and the answer to that you could say is 1 and 3/12. And of course, you could look at this and go, oh, wait, 3 goes into both of those. 1 time and then 4 times, boom, you got it. Okay, you could have also done it the other way. You could have said, wait a minute, I'm going to knock this down first. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 5 divided by 4 is 1 and 1/4, and that's exactly the same thing as you got there. Same old thing. Okay, for D, that's going to be 15 tenths if you do it that way, or 1 and 5 tenths, or 1 1/2, right? You could have also looked at this 15 tenths and said, wait a minute, 5 goes into both of those. It goes 3 there, it goes 2 there. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Same thing. All right, and excuse me, is that E? Yeah. E, we skipped B, didn't we? We'll come back to that. E is going to be, again, 15 twelfths, just like the same answer we did to C, same process. Let's go back to E. To draw the decimals chart on your paper, you don't have to do that. What I would recommend is, looking at page 283 anytime you need to. And again, don't forget, look at page 285 right now. Look at number 11, let's say. You see that that little parenthesis and then 48 in there? That tells you to go back into lesson 48 if you forgot something about that. So same thing there. You can just use the decimal set in lesson 53 anytime you want to help you with these problems. So anyway, okay, have a great day. See you next time. Do a good job on those problems. Take a deep breath and knock them out. See ya.